Hello and welcome back. Today I am going to be reacting to estranged parents, particularly my daughter stopped talking to me, so I let her go. This is something that's quite close to me, not them, but this whole kind of topic, because this is something that I have been toying with the idea. I haven't brought myself to do it. I don't think I ever will. I'm curious to see what it's like on the other side and why her daughter decided to leave her. Obviously, it comes with a disclaimer. I have no idea who either of them are, the whole family dynamics, but the fact that her and her husband are still together and her daughter still decided to leave says a lot. For now, we are honestly just going to see exactly how it plays out, how the mother, how the father see this and how they react to it. As I mentioned, I am not them, so take this as a grain of salt. I'm pretty much seeing this in the view of my own experience. So that's where I'm standing.
Really thought I could get through this without crying.
27% of American adults have cut contact with a family member.
The very first intro really was rehearsed. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but a bit odd.
Have you seen this?
I need to speak my truth. All my life, I've been gasping about what I'm to say. I need you to know how you're feeling my mental health. It's bad. Have my life ruined.
It's not that far-fetched. I'm going to be honest, if I was ever to write a letter, it would be somewhere along that lines as well. I wouldn't exactly say you've ruined my life. I want to get some things off my chest. But the way it's been said, it seems like, to me, that she has tried to tell her truth before and they refused to listen. One way or another, either they palmed it off, either they got angry, either they got defensive, either they ignored her. Whichever it was, she got denied. So her emotions and her feelings was not validated. Essentially what you're doing is that you're making your kid invisible, and it'll push her to the point, or him, to the point where they feel like they can't talk to you. They can't be honest with you. They can't tell you the truth of how they're feeling. And to me, it seems that her daughter has gone to the point where she's like, you know what? I am so done with you. This is my last ever email that I'm going to send to you, and I'm off. I don't care what you have to say to me, because through an email, the fact she picked email, not a phone call, she doesn't want to have that confliction. She doesn't want to have that interaction with her parents. She just wanted to say her bit, and she's understand of, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, I don't want to hear about it. And I see where she's coming from, if that is what she's thinking.
90% of the letter was about politics and how we couldn't be in her life if we supported that guy.
I'm not 100% sure how true that sentence is. It seems like that might have some truth into it, but I don't think that's the only reason, because you can have a relationship if you have different views. I don't think that is the only thing that's going on here.
This kind of angry outburst from her was so out of character, we were shocked.
To call that an angry outburst is interesting, because she's not actually angry. If anything, she sent an email and that's all it was. There was no confrontation. She wasn't raising her voice. There was actually no voice at all, because normally when it comes to an angry outburst, it normally involves strong emotions and very heated emotions, very erratic emotions. This is an email that she's clearly has thought out. And by the way, anyone who sends out an email or a letter, however you want to do it, deciding to cut off your parents, cut off their parents, I promise that person has gone through a lot of thoughts, a lot of pros and cons. It's not an easy choice.
I mean, I thought I was a good mom. Not perfect, but pretty good.
That's her opinion, which fair enough. But have you asked your daughter's opinion about you as a mother? Because any mother would make mistakes. It's fine making mistakes. Your kids are not looking for the perfect mother or perfect father. They're not. They're looking for a human. And at this very moment, I don't want to say too much, but it seemed to be, there's a slight hint, I could be wrong, a slight hint of God complex where I am the right and you are the wrong.
Honestly, I was in denial at this point because I thought this was more a thing between her and my husband, Ted.
That line tells me she doesn't want to take responsibility. It tells me that the daughter actually has more of an issue with her dad. Hear me out. If that's where she thinks it's rooting from, she genuinely thinks that she's off the hook. The thing is that she doesn't realize she's far from being off the hook. It's because she's the accomplice in the relationship. And that's something that I've recently learned as an adult, and it's a very, very hard thing to learn. It's when you have an issue with one parent, if that voice is not heard from the other parent is basically turning a blind eye. And you don't feel it at the time, but when you're an adult, you find that you can't trust them. The truth is that you try and find reasons why you have this feeling against them, but they haven't exactly done you wrong. It's the fact that they allowed everything to happen. And when you're an adult and you understand how hard life can be and how hard you have to fight, you start questioning, why haven't your mum fought for you? Why haven't anyone stood up for you? And that's the part that hurts the most. So as an adult, when you start standing up for people, you start thinking, hold on, I'm already standing up to my friends, to my partner, to myself. And you're starting to think, why didn't my mum stood up for me? She was a fully grown adult. And that's the key bit. That's the difference between a mum and a kid, is that the mum is the adult in the situation. When everything happened, she was a fully grown adult and she still chose not to do it. The same thing, I believe, in this scenario might be the situation as well.
Because I'm not that political at all. So I thought we could still have a relationship.
That sentence just shows naivety or playing dumb, however you want to see it. I didn't think that had anything to do with me, so I thought we could just continue as normal.
I responded positively to one of her Facebook posts, like normal, thinking that the letter was just some one-off thing that would blow over. But she unfriended me and followed up with a text that said something like, "You don't get to stay in my life. I'm keeping this number for family emergencies only. Don't contact me."
She really wants you out of her life. You have done her, like, you've really hurt her. One way or another, you have really hurt her. Her daughter definitely seems to be past the breaking point, into a point where she's just officially done. She doesn't want anything to do with you. You need to reflect on your life and think about exactly what it is that has done this, what has built to this situation. Because you've gone past the whole of being nice. You've gone past the whole, oh, let me give you a treat. I love you. That doesn't matter anymore. You're way past that. You're way past that. At this point, the only thing that can amend the relationship, and I hate to say this, but I'm in a very, very similar boat, is you recognizing where you've gone wrong as a parent.
A couple weeks later, she did not wish me happy birthday for the very first time. In December, I texted Merry Christmas and told her that we loved her. Silence.
As I mentioned, all of these texting, all of these emails that you're sending her, it's not going to do anything. Unless something serious has happened in the family, maybe she will respond. But other than that, that's it. She's really treating it as an emergency, as in, don't talk to me. And I do wonder what the mother and the father has done. What was her childhood like? Because that's not something that comes out of thin air.
So that winter, I emailed her a few times, mostly personal development stuff that I thought she'd be interested in.
That is probably the most insulting thing you could do. The idea that you think you just need some self-love. You just go and fix yourself. You don't know what you're doing. Let me come and help you. No. Don't. I bet your daughter has gone through this months or even years before she sent that last email to tell you that she is done with you. She's gone through all that, and guess what? It didn't work. Okay, the problem, she realized, what she's learned is that it is not her. The problem is not her, it's her family. And that is why she ended up sending that email out. But I bet between that realization and that email, I bet she has tried to reach out to her family multiple times and she constantly got the same response. No one was acknowledging her feelings, her emotions, her hurt. And that's the final straw. The final straw is sending that email out.
Around this time, I started watching videos on estrangement to see if I could figure out what was going on. I did it intermittently because I think I was still in denial, thinking she would just come back in time.
I find that when parents are at that God complex, when they think that they are the God, they don't take any responsibilities. Trying to get them to take any it's like freaking talking to a brick wall. Is what it feels like. The fact that she's constantly in denial and it's taken her this long and still in bloody denial tells me that she's probably, it might be one of that. I'm leaning towards the God complex where she can't do anything wrong. In terms of living in that situation, just from my own experience, you are always the problem. Every emotions that you're feeling, everything that you are upset about, it's you. Why are you so sensitive? Why is it always you that's the problem? It's horrible. You don't want to hear people tell you what the hell's wrong with you. Why are you like that? I'm not like that. Dad's not like that. Why are you like that? It's like, because I don't have the God complex. You two do. That's why you two can't do anything wrong. That's the problem.
I mean, I tried to maintain contact. She shut that down.
You're too far gone for that. You should have reached out a long time ago. To give you an idea, this is... if I am coming really strong, I am really sorry. It might be questionable whether or not I should even make a video, but to give you an idea, I have been constantly battling the idea of reaching out, of amending my relationship with my parents. Now, as I said, this is very, very one-sided. I am the one with the problem. My dad and my mum don't think we have an issue at all. Okay, they think there's nothing. They think I'm the problem. Me and my parents, we don't talk that much. To give you an idea, we don't go on a phone call. Like I have not been on a phone call with my dad 5.5 years. He's never called me. I don't call him. Only Christmas time, he will say Happy Christmas. That's it. I'll say Merry Christmas too. Like I'll say Happy Birthday. He'll say Happy Birthday. That's it. Wow, realizing that it's quite something really. My mum, we message. There's a huge language barrier as well, which really doesn't help because my mum only speaks Mandarin. My Mandarin's only up to an 8-year-old. Can you imagine an 8-year-old trying to explain their emotions, their hurt, their trauma? It's not happening. Since learning about when it comes to me, like I tried to explain to them, why did they not reach out to me when I had no job and you were still collecting money from me? Why didn't you reach out to me to ask if I was okay? To check if my finance was okay? Why didn't anyone do that? You all seem happy to be collecting money from me every single month, despite the fact that I just had a mental breakdown, despite the fact that I don't have a job anymore for a whole year, and you still had no issues taking every single penny from me. If something changed, a situation changed for anyone, doesn't matter, family, friends, acquaintances, I would ask, how are you doing? Like finance wise, like you don't have to share it. You don't have to, you can tell me like no offense, this is not your problem. That's fine. I just want an open door. But when I mention anything like that, it's always me that's the problem. I carried you for 9 months. All of these things. Like what was the whole point of birthing you if you're not even going to help me? It's like, they're incredibly hurtful words that changed my life. It changed my relationship with my parents. The biggest one with my dad was when I came back from Hong Kong and I did a semester abroad. During that time, my dad, all sorts of conditions. It was a pain. I basically came back broke because he wanted me to spend all my own hard-earned money with my aunt. He wanted me to treat aunt. So being the people pleaser I am, that's exactly what I did. I came back with zero to my name. I was penniless. I have saved thousands and I came back penniless. I remember stepping through the door and I cried. My mum asked what was wrong. I told her, I'm broke. I have no money. Nothing. I have nothing to my name. All that hard work I had is gone. And I remember sitting on the table. My dad was silent. I remember my dad said, he was silent for a bit, and then no apologies, nothing, because this is all of his own doing, by the way. He said, I will lend you 500, but you have to pay interest on top of it. That was the first time in my life where I felt my heart just shattered, like just gone. And it wasn't because of anything, it wasn't necessarily that sentence, but it was more the fact of the situation. I spent, at that time I was 19, 20 maybe. And since 14, I have given him everything I had. I worked at the age of 14, I was a guitar tutor. I was charging people £5 an hour. That £5 will go straight to him. I was working Mondays to Saturdays. Sometimes I would even work on Sundays. And all of those weekend ones, I'll get a good amount of money. I'll get about 100 quid, 120, all went to my dad. I didn't ask a single thing from him. And yet, when I needed help, he was gonna charge me interest on top of it. I didn't take the deal. It hurt. It hurt a lot. But this is why I'm sharing this, because I don't know if Hayley's going through something or has gone through something similar. If I were to be completely transparent, if I did the same thing to my parents, I reckon they'll probably go through something similar like this. I don't see them reflecting on their life, because it was just yesterday. Oh no, it was just the day before yesterday where I reached out and I said, Mum, let me know when you're free for a chat. I'll give you a phone call. And we had a chat. It was a really lovely chat. It was an hour long. But I don't know why she had to add at the end of the phone call, Sydney, we thought you changed. We thought you weren't as loving and as caring as you were as a kid. And it really hurt as an adult. Because as an adult, you knew what kind of person you were as a kid. You weren't in a healthy relationship, but it's the first time you love yourself as an adult and the first time you feel stable. It's the first time you're in a loving relationship. And that's the sentence that your parents decide to give you. And it almost just makes you, it guilt trip you because you feel shit. I felt so shit after that. And that's how I stumbled across this video. which is why I'm here. I wonder how many times Hayley has reached out and her mum or her dad has said something that just really triggered her. The thing is, when they do trigger, I don't think Hayley would react. I didn't react. When my mum said it, I said, yeah, no. In fact, I even tried to justify it, because the truth is that what I really want to say is that if you carry on bringing this up, I'm not going to talk to you. That's what I really want to say, but I couldn't. I've learned not to express my emotion to the point where I physically can't, which is another reason why I keep doing reaction videos. It seems to be the only time I can react genuinely, as in if there's a trigger that I could just leash it out, is in front of the camera. I don't know why. I know why, but I don't know if there's a fix for it. I don't know if I do want that fix either, because it's been nothing but cause a lot of hurt. So that's why I make these videos. Anyway, I ramble so much.
The longer this went on, the more real it began to feel, and there was just this cauldron of emotions, horrible emotions, shock and shame, anger, denial, sadness, depression, betrayal. It was so hard to process.
That sentence to me tells me that she still thinks that her daughter made a mistake. She thinks that her daughter's going to come round. She's basically saying, oh, she's just doing her thing. She doesn't know what she's doing. She'll realise she's in the wrong. The fact that the first letter was not taken serious enough was a huge red flag. And it really shows she held herself to such a high regard that a letter like this, screaming at you, telling you that I am so done with you, it doesn't register in her head. She still thinks that she's fine. She's right. Her daughter's going to come back. Her daughter's going to realise she's the wrong. She's the one in the wrong. What she's really doing, she's still waiting for that apology. And I think now she's starting to realise that apology might not ever happen.
I joined some parental estrangement groups on Facebook to see how other parents were coping. And while it was nice to know that I wasn't alone, I could not spend too much time there because it was all the same misery that I felt. So horribly sad and depressing. There were just broken hearts everywhere. I could not face all that pain.
I'm just going to quickly add that pain that you're talking about, your daughter has probably experienced that for the past several years, for all her life. Just an FYI, I just thought you'd like to know that pain that you are hiding from, your daughter couldn't hide from.
Sadly, at one point, I had to text her to let her know Grandpa died, Ted's dad. She'd had a good relationship with him. She did attend, to her credit.
I think the fact that she turned up for the funeral did speak volumes. I think she knows her right and wrong. If you ever thought this was a tantrum or just something that you're not thinking it through, she probably wouldn't turn up, even if she had a great relationship with her granddad. She knows who did her well and who didn't. I personally really think there's something going on in her childhood.
It was so sad on her birthday. This is a very special day for me too. It's the day I first became a mother.
Knowing that it's Hayley's birthday, that, you know, it's my special day too. It's when I became a mother. Yes, I do understand that, but would it kill you just to let her have that day? But it just seemed a little bit self-centered to me.
It's probably going to sound stupid, but I buy myself a present for Hayley's birthday every year. It's like a consolation prize.
I'm not sure exactly what that means. I don't know why. I understand you might have your way of grieving. So for example, buying something for yourself or Hayley. I can understand to some extent. Like you can grieve however you want. I'm not going to judge anything about that. But I'm just a bit curious why you chose the word prize, because it's not a competition. So far in the video, there's not a single concern for Hayley. There's not a single reflection on her as a mother.
By now, I had moved from shock and shame into feeling this kind of low-level anger, definitely resentment, and yeah, betrayal.
The resentment and betrayal are interesting words because it's very victimizing. It seems like you have essentially painted your daughter as the villain here. And it's funny because you don't talk about how you raised her. You don't talk about all the issues because these things don't come out of nowhere. It's the fact that you chose those words, yet you gave zero context on why, what happened, how did you raise Hayley up? Was there any argument? What political things was it? Was there anything else? Did she reach out? You know, what was it like before that? before she sent the letter, because you could start having some telltale signs.
On the 1-year anniversary of her angry letter, I emailed my sad letter response.
Saying that her letter was angry, her angry letter, you're definitely painting your daughter in a unflattering light here.
With a story about the time I saved her from choking to death on a candy wrapper when she was a baby.
Did you want a medal for that? I don't understand why that was worthy of bringing up. She was a baby. It's the same thing when your mum tells you, I carried you for 9 months. What other option did you have? Like, is there anything else you could have done? Like, is there, sorry, as an infant, as an embryo, let me just get myself out of here and just sustain myself. Why is that even something to bring up? I don't understand why mothers do that. Whenever there's an issue, well, I carried you for 9 months. Well, that was a waste of time. I am so sorry that you carried me. You chose to have me, which already, I have already made it very clear. I did not mind if they aborted me. Okay? I wouldn't know any better. But to use that as a guilt trip, to use that as a reason why I owe them, is insanity. You've got pregnant. That was your choice. And then you had a second chance, okay? You could abort that child. But you decided to no. But the thing is that they bring it to you. You should be thankful that I did not abort you.
Which was probably the worst way to start.
But it is. Why?
I didn't know. Then I went into I don't know everything, but I did the best I could.
You could Google it. Whenever anyone tells me, I tried my best. I didn't know much, but I tried my best. Like, listen, Google it, okay? You wouldn't go and try and fix a laptop and then just do it blindly. Why would you do that for raising a child? Google the damn shit.
Then I went on to calmly address some of the points in her letter. I apologized for not being the parent she needed, but I also expressed dismay at her level of intolerance.
You should have stopped at the apologies. There's no but at the end. You're basically saying, I'm apologizing for this, but you are also in the wrong. That's not an apology. She's not going to respond. You think she's going to read that and be like, you know what, I was wrong. It's very self-righteous. The child is always wrong. Even if the adult is wrong, the child is wrong along with it.
Which I probably shouldn't have done, but I wanted to be honest and basically just wished her the best of everything.
If you want to be honest, go and reflect your life. Have a think. Nitpick every single stage of your life. What are the things you said to her? Have you ever got angry at her? Have you ever ignored her? Have you given her the silent treatment? Has she ever reached out for you? Those are the things that you need to be honest with.
Around this time, we discovered her TikTok, which I have to confess was strange and difficult to digest because she does a lot of exotic cosplay. I was pretty annoyed at being relegated to the status of random internet viewer, but I was glad that I could see her.
Again, being relegated to just an internet viewer. You had the privilege before. You fucked it up. That's what happened. You need to figure out where you fucked it up and then hope that she's willing to forgive you. If you're not even willing to find it, as I mentioned, it's going to continue like that. It's not going to happen.
In November, my husband and I caught the super nasty Delta version of COVID. I told her that she should call Daddy-O because he had COVID and he wasn't doing well. She did call.
This Hailey girl really knows her right and wrong, and she needs to do her part.
She was almost like an automaton, dead inside. I don't know, kind of like a robot.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think that's a way of her distancing herself from you guys. It could be the fact she has no more emotions left for you guys. Writing a letter to distance yourself from your parents is not an easy task, and her daughter has gone through so much because people don't just emotionally absent. They don't. It's very unnatural, and it's especially very unnatural when it comes to parents, and that's the hardest bit. As an adult, I think the only way for her to cope was to distance, was to remove that emotion part. You have to be going through a lot of hurt to completely remove your emotions.
There's a breakaway period where you break away and you're like, get away from me, and then usually there's a period where they come back, and hopefully they will at some point, but
That tearing away, that's teenage rebellion time. Your daughter's not at that stage. She's an adult. You know that point where you said that, hopefully they come back? That's the part you screwed up. She's not. That's the part where now she probably would have, if you had a good relationship, she would be back. But she actually chose not to.
Who is mom, and what does she worry about, and what does she think about, and I don't know, maybe nobody cares.
This is a very self-pity sentence. I'm sorry. The fact that she's not even thinking about how Hayley might be feeling, it says a lot. It's all about her, where in reality, I can guarantee that she's hurting. Both sides hurt when it comes to these things. I find that a lot of parents, when it comes to that cutoff point, they always feel like the kid is just going wild. They're off. They don't give two shits about them. It's like, no, they're hurting more than you think. It's just, this is the only way for them to hurt less. Before, they were taking everything. They were hurting twice as much, 3 times as much, and they can't take it anymore. If you fuck it up in the early stages, it's really hard to unfuck it, because suddenly you need to be so vigilant, so careful with the words you say to people, because they're sensitive. They've been hurt. It doesn't take long for them to realize something's not right.
I ordered Joshua Coleman's book, Rules of Estrangement, scanned a couple of chapters out of order, including the amends letter section, which I could not stomach because it required far too much contrition. Like, it's all the parents' fault.
You see what I mean? How God's status. She thinks she is the God. She can't do no wrong. She can't admit. Even going as far as buying a book, someone who is professional, who's a professional in this field, is saying this is how you write a letter, even though they are saying it is all the parents' fault. She cannot digest that. She cannot come to terms with it. That's from a professional. Can you imagine from Hayley trying to get through to her, trying to tell her truth? I'm just saying, I am not surprised this is how it went down.
On my birthday, which passed again in silence, I went for a hike.
And 2 years later, she's still not talking to me. Can't make her love me. I can't make her want to talk to me. I can't make her call. I can't make her do anything.
It's because she's an adult. Don't get me wrong, she loved you. She probably loved you dearly. But remember, the deeper the love, the bigger the hurt. As part of growing up, you start having different thoughts. You start having your own way of thinking. You start sharing things, your own feelings. When they get rejected, when they get ignored, when they pull it back on you saying you're the problem, it hurts. And that love that you had for them turns into hurt. You don't hate them, but you're just numb is what it is. The way she's saying, I can't get her to love me, I can't get her to do this for me, I can't do... It's always for you. What can you do to love her? What can you do still as a mother to look after her, to amend this, to change this? Why aren't you trying to change this whole thing? Why are you still expecting her to help you? Why is it her responsibility to fix things for you? It's your turn to try and fix the relationship.
I never in a million years imagined that I would have a daughter who would just cut me out of her life.
No, every parent probably wouldn't imagine it, but I guess what the parents who definitely wouldn't are the parents who think that they are God. Even if that happened, it's the child's fault. Something's wrong with the child.
We did the best we could. I poured a lot of love and resources and time and energy, and she rejected me.
The way she said it sounds very transactional, and I wonder whether that might be it. Because it just dawned on me now, that's a very the way she said that, I spent resources, I spent money, those are very transactional things. I wonder whether that's something that's the problem. She's not saying anything on the lines of, I had such a wonderful time with Hayley growing up, she was such an adorable baby, she brought so much smiles to our lives, she brought so much happiness. There was none of that. It was, we've done this, we've done that, and then to end it on, we got rejected. No, you didn't get rejected. You got a reality dose. That's what you got, a reality dose. She's hurt. People who hurt don't reject people. They remove themselves from the situation. There's a difference. Rejecting is saying that you're the problem, I don't want to deal with you, go away. Removing yourself from a situation is saying that I know this is the situation and I can't change it, so I'm going to have to remove myself to avoid getting more hurt.
I binged on her TikTok again and found some references to us, including a video dedicated to what she'd learned going no contact with her parents. I guess irks me, that whole love with strings attached thing.
Love with strings attached. See, everything is just a transaction. Anything that your parents does for you, you know they want it back. Love with strings attached, that's not love. That's a transaction. That's a business transaction. As I mentioned, like my dad said that he will lend me £500, but I would have to pay interest on top of it. That's a transactional. That's not love.
I don't get that. I don't know where that comes from.
I don't want to be with people like that.
Love is...
They love you for who you are, not for who they want you to be.
We also learned that she's been diagnosed with ADHD and high-functioning autism, which was news to us.
How did you guys not know? I say that lightly because I have ADHD, or I don't think I have ADHD, but I am dyslexic. This is the situation of my life. No one knew I was dyslexic until I was in uni. Not because anyone put me through. I had to put myself through the test because I knew there was something wrong with me. That's how I found out I was dyslexic. I was in uni. Was there any signs? Yeah, there were signs. There were signs since I was a kid, when I was a baby. I didn't speak until I was 4. When I was in primary school, I excelled in everything except for English. And the same thing goes into secondary school. I excelled in everything except for English. But hey, at home, I was the dumb kid. I was labelled the dumb one, the one who can't figure English out, the one that doesn't try hard enough, the one that doesn't focus, the one that's not learning, it's not learning smartly, it's not working hard. That's me. But all the clues were there. All the hints were there. They labelled it into something else. That's all it is. And I do wonder whether it's the same thing for Hayley. I could be completely wrong.
She doesn't even care how we feel. She doesn't care if we're struggling with this issue. She doesn't care if we're alive or dead.
She doesn't care about you guys now. It's because you didn't give two shits about her for her whole life. And to say that she absolutely doesn't care, that's also lying as well. She probably does. She's probably hurting too. But she'd rather go down this path and save her own sanity than continue with this lie. That's the truth that you don't want to hear. The fact that you're saying that she doesn't really care about whether you're alive or dead. She did call you during COVID when you were sick. So she does care. She can't get emotionally involved because every single time she gets emotionally involved, she gets hurt. And that is why she has to force herself to cut ties. She does care. She's proven time and time again, even during silence, that she does care. She turned up for her granddad's funeral. She turned up when her dad is sick. Those are proof that she still cares, regardless whether she shows her face or not. But she did go through the phone call. She did dial those numbers.
I don't hear any, I'm really sorry, there's nothing there.
God complex. They are expecting the apology for all of that hurt, but they don't realise that the amount of hurt that they have projected on Hayley, they can't provide her the apology that she desperately needs to move on. They're so high up in their fucking horses that they don't see the problem that they have caused. Even though this is the problem that they've caused, and what Hayley has done, cutting ties, was the result of that problem, they still expect her to be the bigger person to come up to them and apologise. This is why people cut ties. This is why people get hurt.
I had a mental problem, sorry.
Why did she have a mental problem? Did you ask her? Did you listen to her? Did you accept her when she had mental problems? Because that is her screaming to you that she needs help. She needs you to be on her side. She needs you to be a human. For once in your life, could you please be a human and understand what I am going through emotionally and feelings, everything, and yet you chose not to do it.
She didn't care. She doesn't care still.
Absolutely not true.
I'm just upset.
I really thought we did our best.
Don't get me wrong. I understand that as parents, for them, they must feel horrendous. But that doesn't minimize the hurt that Hayley has felt throughout her life. I'm not saying that they deserve every single thing that they have, but I can definitely say that they shouldn't be surprised. Yes, they are upset now. They're crying. Like, they are in a really bad situation. They are upset, emotionally very invested. But Hayley's been feeling that all her life. Why is it when the parents are feeling that it's so important, but when the kid is feeling that, you can just palm it off? That's what I want to know.
Forgiving her, but forgiveness for myself too.
I really struggle with this one because she'd rather go through the whole forgiveness stage instead of finding out where she went wrong. Because Hayley's not expecting her to be a perfect mother. We all know no one's freaking perfect here. So these parents with their God complex, they could calm the down. All they want is a human. If she came up to Hayley and said, Listen, I am so sorry the way I treated you. I shouldn't have palmed you off. I shouldn't have lashed out at you. I shouldn't have called you crazy. I shouldn't have said that you're a waste of space or anything. I don't know. She needs to acknowledge what she's done wrong. Put that in a letter. Explicitly explain the things that she has done wrong. And just at the end, I hope that one day you'll find it in your hearts to forgive me. But if you don't, I also understand. That's all she needs. And I bet Hayley would probably respond. That's all what we want. We just want the parents to acknowledge that they've hurt us. That's it. But that's the very thing that people aren't willing to do. They rather ruin the whole relationship. They rather be blind to it. They rather live a lie than face the truth. Just because the hurt isn't there on their end doesn't mean it doesn't exist on the other end. And that's what they chose to do. She rather goes through the self-forgiving one. I forgive Hayley. Why are you forgiving Hayley? She hasn't done anything. Those were the consequences of your actions. So what you're really saying, you're just forgiving yourself. That's it. I mean, you can forgive yourself, but you need to acknowledge, what are you forgiving? What? What have you done? You need to know what you've done in order to forgive yourself. You know, the order's a bit messed up. Find out what you've done, send that letter out, and then later you forgive yourself. You don't just forgive yourself when you don't even know what you've done wrong. You need to self-reflect. Reflect on your life.
Today is my daughter's birthday. She is 29.
She's the same age as me. Not that everything has to be about me. Sorry, I just realised why did I need to share that?
Happy birthday, Hayley. I wish you all the best in what you're doing. I admire that you're following your dreams and you're doing what you believe is right. And I hope you are loved and surrounded by people who truly love you. Not for some persona that you may be online, but for who you truly are as a person. And I know you're a kind soul with a really big heart with so much love to give. And so I hope you find a place to express that love and find someone's who appreciate that love and reflect it back to you. I wish you health and happiness to just live your best life, do good in the world. Just know that I still love you, no matter what you say or don't say about me. You can't change that. I will fucking love you forever, like it or not. Because I'm a mom. And moms are like that.
So the ending of this is something that she should have had done, I was at the start. That's all she needed to say, really. You can see that she's clearly very upset. I feel like that was the most emotional and the most true we got from her. I think that is what she should have said to Hayley. Whether that's enough or not, I don't know. It doesn't mean that she doesn't need to reflect in her life and figure out where this is all coming from. But on the very last bit, it seems like she's willing to listen. That's what it seems like. Anyway, this was a very, very, I don't want to say triggering. It was a very, very hard one to watch at first. But it does let me share my thoughts on these things. And I don't want to say like I'm an expert in this, because I'm not a professional in this at all. For any parents out there who are going through like this, you have to find out exactly where you went wrong. And I'm not saying that your kid is perfect. I'm not saying Hayley's perfect, but you have to at least acknowledge where you've gone wrong, because I'm sure where Hayley is wrong, I'm sure you pointed it out to her or him. But as a kid, if there's something like this that's hurting so much, it's hard to move on. And when they grow up, they learn more and more about it, because there's Google. You learn about narcissists, you learn about all these God complex stuff. And when things start clicking, that's when the parents need to be a bit scared, because it's going to be a whirlwind of an emotion for the kid. And at that point, you need to hope that they forgive you. But in order for them to forgive you, you need to apologise for the things that you've done. And in order to do that, you need to figure out where you went wrong. So that's pretty much it for this one. That is my reaction to Estranged Family. I really hope that they find peace within themselves. It seems like the mother has. She's accepted her situation. And if Hayley ever does see her video, I think the last couple of minutes is probably the most important ones. But again, I really hope that the mother and the dad are open to listening to Hayley's feelings, because that's very, very important. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. I just want to say thank you very much for watching, especially if you watched it all the way till this very end. I have no idea how long I've been recording. It's been ages, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, consider liking and subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you next week. Bye.